Hi, my name is Larry Knopf and I'm president of First Capital Mortgage. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we're going to talk about refinancing your current mortgage. Very simply, there are only two types of refinances. You have what we call a rate and term refinance, where you're refinancing simply for better terms on your loan. Most of the time people are looking to get a lower interest rate. Or you can do a cash out refinance. With a cash out refinance, what people are doing is they're borrowing enough money in the loan to pay off their current mortgage, plus they're borrowing additional money out of the equity to do other things with it. Perhaps you want to consolidate some debt, or you want to do some home improvements around the house. Maybe you have a college education you want to start paying for, or perhaps you have the unfortunate circumstances of a divorce buyout and you need to buy your ex-spouse out of the equity in the property. So that's what a cash out refinance is for. Pretty plain vanilla. Most of the time people have a bigger goal of accomplishing the debt consolidation, the home improvements, and perhaps the interest rate is not the most critical element of that transaction. So with the rate and term refinance, people are typically looking for a lower interest rate. So those are the two types of refinances we can do, or that are even available to you in the industry. So let's talk about rate and term refinances, because there's some misinformation out there, and I'd really like to clear that up for you. And it's pretty simple. A lot of times I get referrals where someone will call me and say, I want to refinance my mortgage, but I've heard that my interest rate on the new mortgage has to be 2 percentage points lower than my current mortgage. Is that true? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've done the majority of my refinances for clients that have saved them tens of thousands of dollars is considerably less than 2 percentage points. Most of the time, actually 1 percentage point reduction in the interest rate will yield enough. But here's some basics with this. And I like to keep this simple. I don't get into spreadsheets and complicated formulas. That's nonsense. And that just confuses everybody, even the most educated among us with finance degrees. It can be confusing. So I keep it kind of simple because life is really simple. This is just real world stuff. And the fact of the matter is, as a family, you have a certain amount of money that comes into your household, you have a certain amount of money that goes out, and if you can save on the amount of money that goes out and it makes sense to you, then it's a reasonable time to refinance. I do have some basic parameters that I advise my clients of. The first thing is, when you're looking to do a refinance to lower your interest rate and lower your payment, if the refinance doesn't save you at least $1,000 a year, you probably want to hold off and wait until terms get better, until pricing gets a little bit better. So you're looking for anywhere from a minimum of $85 to $100 a month in a lower payment for the refinance to be worthwhile. The other target that I look at is whatever the refinance is saving you a month. Let's say it's saving you $100 a month. There's obviously a cost that you incur to do the refinance. Now, most of the time we borrow enough money in the loan to cover the closing costs. In other words, you don't have to bring closing costs out of your bank account to the settlement table. We simply borrow enough so that we can cover the closing costs in the loan. But you still have costs to do the loan. You have attorney's fees and title insurance and recording fees, and the lender will have a couple $100 of underwriting fees. You have to pay for an appraisal. You're perhaps going to establish another escrow account for your taxes and insurance and so forth. So you do have closing costs, and let's say your closing costs are $3,000. One of the targets that I recommend is if your monthly savings will bring back to you the total amount that you've spent in closing costs within 3 to 4 years, that's a good deal. So in other words, you're looking for a 3 to 4 year break even. In the case of closing costs that are, say, $3,000, if you're saving $100 a month, it will take you 30 months to get your $3,000 back. That's a good deal. Again, anywhere from 3 to 4 years, and you're looking at a really good deal to do the refinance. And sometimes the saving is considerably more. And I've had people that we refinance, it saves them $150, $200, $250 a month. And it depends on the size of your loan. The bigger loans, the bigger the savings is going to be for you. So that's really the basics of doing a refinance. Now, when you contact First Capital Mortgage to talk about refinances, we do something that's very different. We have a very cool process that we use, and we sort of do a virtual conversation with you. What we'll do is, when you contact us, if you have access to a computer, we will send you an email with a link in it. When you click on that link and log in, we'll give you a login. It will actually bring you immediately to my desktop. And the first thing you're going to see is my smiling face. I use a webcam, so it gives you an opportunity to actually meet me. I won't be able to see you, but you will be able to see me, and you'll also be looking at my desktop. As we go through plugging in numbers, you'll be able to see what your payment's going to be if you select this interest rate or that interest rate. So you'll be able to see the numbers when we take a look at credit. We usually look at one credit bureau initially. You'll see the credit report I'm looking at. You'll see your credit score, you'll see what trade lines are there, and so forth. The other thing that I do that is very unique in my industry, and it's sort of taboo in the mortgage industry, but I will actually bring up on the screen for you my wholesale rate sheets from my lead lender. Almost no one does that in this industry, but I want you to be confident in me that I'm giving you the very best interest rate I can give you. So you're going to look at rates with me, and we're going to discuss pricing, and I'm going to explain to you how the rate sheet reads and how you can select an interest rate that fits your comfort level. And I will give you my best interest rate right up front. You're going to be looking at it with me. So there's going to be no bickering and back and forth and haggling and negotiating. You're going to get my best shot right up front when you contact me. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. If you have any questions or you'd like to discuss the possibility of a refinance, we have contact information on the site, contact buttons and so forth. It'll be my great pleasure to hear from you. We'll do the virtual conversation. I think you'll get a kick out of that and really enjoy it. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for stopping by. Please make it a great day today.